We're kind of bringing it back to the Kings. That same day, the Kings were rumored to be interested or having a trade discussions with the Wizards for Bradley Beal. Like an hour or two later, Damien Barling of ESPN 1320 tweeted that the Kings were heavily pursuing OG Anunoby, which just makes a lot more sense for the Kings. Small forward, great defender, a guy who can hit the three at a very high clip. Just seems and a guy who will fit this core's timeline very well. He's signed for 2 more years, although his last year is a player option. But someone you kind of hope that since he does fit this core's timeline, you might be able to re-sign him as well with Sabonis and Fox and Murray. How do you feel about OG and all these rumors?
I mean, the fit is flawless if you could get it all working there in terms of impact on the floor, specific impact on the floor, age, all that stuff. It would definitely enhance the team, give them that guy that they want, and it'd fulfill what they've basically been probably wanting to do for maybe close to a year, but definitely the last 6 months. I remember that Bleacher Report article from Eric Pincus that cited when it seemed like the Raptors were kind of after a not the best start to the season. It kind of seemed like the mediocrity of the Raptors was kind of known by everybody, that they would be trading fellows like Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby. And ever since then, it just was like crystal clear that this fit would be just insanely good. Because all year, even kind of coming into this offseason, but all year, it's just like, should they give Barnes an extension? I mean, like, what realistic options are there for the Kings to get younger, more athletic, better defensively at that position? Set, the groundwork for kind of that core to include a wing that has all the things that you want on both ends of the floor and has the same kind of age that the rest of the guys on the core have. The answers were slim, but the one that always made sense, the one that always came up, was OG Anunoby. And you're at a point now where aggressively pursuing, yeah, you better be. That's the best option you got. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't get OG Anunoby, what are you going to re-sign Barnes? You're going to scrap together? It's just like the options have far less appeal when you start thinking about them not getting Anunoby. So it'll be interesting. I don't know how the trade will go, because I think they always say the Raptors are notorious for having high asking prices. So,
but also you have to take in consideration for this trade is that this could very well be a 1-year rental. It can be. I don't see OG declining that player option, or I see him declining that player option.
Yeah,
just because he can make more than $18 million a year, being a second team all defense. He scored 17 points a game last year on 38% from three, leading the league in steals. Like that's a $25 million guy at least right there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can convince him to stay, and that's important in itself, keeping him or having him for a year. But if he leaves after 1 year, oh man, I mean, I think that'll take the asking price a little more down, and I think teams realize that too. Because I don't know what an all-in team that's looking at Anunoby, right? I mean, you have to be really all-in to really give up a lot for him.
Because you're saying that there's little chance that you'd be able to sign him long-term?
I'm not saying there's little chance to sign him long-term. I'm just saying that exists. And that, like, obviously, if he had, 4 years left on his contract, that would make him more valuable. But for him just having 1 year left, it makes... I'm not saying him... I mean, it makes the trade value go down, in my opinion, just because it's like, well, I'm not going to give up all this for a guy that might walk next year.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely, you got to bring it up. That's definitely true. But he's the guy that you want to try to keep, and he's the kind of guy that, I mean, it doesn't matter who the guy is. I don't think the Raptors are going to give a shit hearing that.
Yeah, that's fair. And does aggressively pursuing the Raptors see this and like, okay, let's raise this price even higher?
Yeah, I have no clue.
Thanks, Damien.
No, he just screws it over. He's just playing right into it. But I guess that would be happening all the freaking time in this league.
That's true. Well, he's the only person I've heard it from, though. At the moment, I haven't heard any other report, big report. I just see people quoting him. in his tweet.
But it's kind of just being taken up as common knowledge, which is always kind of something you got to be kind of wary of.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it also just kind of seems like one of those things where even if that report didn't come out, like the assumption by most people that are at least aware of the Kings, like I just laid it out there, like that whole issue of who's going to take over for Barnes. There's not a lot of like really savory options out there. Like Anunoby is the top option.
Mm-hmm.
It would be safe to assume that they were, right? Like,
Yeah, that's
the
fair.
Kings are going after the best option that they could possibly have in terms of fit and if they can get it to work, long-term plan. But I don't know. It seems like it'll take no shit. It'll take multiple first-round picks. I don't know if that's 2 or 3, or if some teams are gonna go crazy and offer more than that. But it's hard to envision what the trade will look like because whenever the Raptors recently traded somebody, like somebody big,
DeRozan, right?
That'd be interesting to look up.
Did they trade Lowry to the Heat for a sign-in trade?
I have no idea.
But even that's a little different.
You're gonna have to ask Siri for that one. You're gonna have to get the third host.
Rudy Gay to the Kings?
Oh my god. That's what are we even talking about Anunoby for?
Bring Rudy back.
Rudy. Oh my god, the familiarity. Come on. He could call it basketball heaven.
A little more on OG though, and other potential suitors. I'm reading this report that the Raptors, Pacers, and Mavericks could engage in a 3-team deal that would send OG to Indiana, the number 7 pick, and multiple firsts to Toronto, and our old friend Buddy Hield to Dallas. That'd be interesting.
Boy.
I'd be kind of pissed if Indiana got him. I feel like they're kind of our rival right now with Halliburton in its own way. Like, okay, really?
I think especially on the trade market, they're kind of like they're that girl that you could compare to all the time. Like, I hate that bitch, you know? Like, it's just there's always going to be connections to it, especially in trade discourse. So I feel like whoever you want to make a decision as to who won that Halliburton Sabonis trade, it's whoever gets Anunoby. That's the deciding factor. Just bring in a third party.